I'm an open book, folks.
I was going to say, he's not going to turn that down.
He's not going to turn that down. Oh, my goodness. All right, so we're going to take some questions from the room. And Denise, those of you who are out online, if you've got some, okay, so if you have a microphone, none right now? Yes? No? I really don't know. Okay, they're open. Just get in on the chat, and you can either give some encouragement to Garrett and Allison, or you can ask some questions. But in the room, I can't really see that well from up here. Do we have another microphone that's roaming? Go. Who's got a question here that they want to ask up here? For right over here to this side? Here we go. Who's after this? Show of hands if you have some questions here. The next one's going to be right over this way, center table. One of the questions I'm going to ask you guys in a minute is, what are some of your dreams and aspirations moving forward? So, you know, everybody wants to just live better, and we want to live better professionally, but we also want to live better personally. So I'm going to ask you guys that before we close this out, okay? All right, over this way.
Yeah, hi, my name is Matt. Just
yes, please introduce yourself and your company, where you're from in the country, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, hi, my name is Matt. I'm from Nokomis, Florida, Southwest Florida, and my SoftWash, guys, is my business. So just in regards to getting off the truck, could you elaborate a little more on some of the first steps you made, either just a couple of thoughts that came to you or something that you could share that would just change the mindset of people in this room, like help us out a little bit? Thanks.
Yeah, so I think my background, it was a little different for me. It was easy. I grew up around employees. So, you know, for 21 years of my life, our business was at my parents' home. So I grew up around employees. But when I started the SoftWash business, I did it all, okay? I sold the thing, I cleaned the thing, I followed up, you know, when it was done, and I moved to the next one. You know, one of the things that I can always say for somebody that's on the truck and wants to get off, don't hire yourself an assistant. Don't bring your 16-year-old, you know, nephew onto the truck just because he can work alongside you. You have to hire a lead. You have to bring in a quality lead technician and train them to replace you, and then hire them the 16-year-old nephew. If you just hire a helper, a quote unquote, I got a guy that helps me. I hear that a lot when you guys call me. Well, I got a guy that's helping me. Like, yeah, okay, that's great, but do you see him running this truck in the future? Well, no. I don't see him being here 2 weeks from now. Well, then what are you doing? And pay that person. Pay them on the pro forma. But you have to bring in a person that you can see being a lead.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Right here, and then we'll come over here. I think there's Joshua over here. Go ahead, sir.
Hey guys, I'm Marco from Riptide Softwash in Sarasota. My partner Ian and I are also in the CEO program. Probably further behind than you are. You're quite a bit further ahead than us. But I'm anxious to see where your company's going to go in 23, but in a snapshot, maybe 3 minutes or less. What does 23 look like for you, and where you think you're going to be next year at this time?
That's a great question. Stay right there with Marco, but because I got a follow-up question for him. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I love that question. So my operations director's here. I will tell you that we fell way short this year, okay? We only did about $500,000 out of our branch. We have 3 brand new 2022 Silverados with 6X brand new skids leased through TBBK, through Mike DeLuca, all right? Those trucks should be doing $500,000 a piece. So we have set a goal to do $1.3 million this year. Okay? We have a plan to get there. I'm hiring a sales manager, all right? I'm pulling myself out of that role, and we're bringing in somebody who is a professional sales manager, okay? We're gonna build a sales team. Sorry, I keep doing that to you. I fixed the production side. We've got 3 great lead techs, okay? Cameron's got to hire some assistant techs this year. But we have 3 great lead techs. We have 3 beautiful, brand new, freshly wrapped trucks. And I mean, we did 394 an hour last year, okay? So there's no reason we can't hit that.
So one of the things I want to point out is the team members that you have. You first of all, you're in the CEO program, so that's working because there's a direct, you have intentional, highly intentional, focused conversations with AC, so you get that knowledge. But then you stepped out, you work with Anya Sukharoff with SoftWash Accounting, and but because if you can't handle your numbers and explain those numbers and with ease, you're not going to do it. You may do it the first time, but the second time you're going to be like, I'm not going to do that. But if you manage those numbers, that's how you know that. I mean, that's why AC called on you sitting out there. But you have a team of people around you. Pay attention to who is on your team.
Yep.
Pay attention. And there's creative ways to get up to this, but our partner companies around here, some partner companies aren't here anymore because they didn't have the bandwidth to do what we knew that you guys needed done. The ones who are in this room have the bandwidth to do what you either need right now or you're going to need. I wanted to point that out because that's one of the strong reasons. You can have all the best goals that you want out there, but do you have the team to get you there? Yeah. And by the way, I'm so sad that you did $500,000 this year.
I know.
Yeah, it's hard. I'm having a hard time feeling bad for you.
Well,
but,
I mean, we did 1.2, but that was with all 3 companies.
Yeah, well, yeah. Wow. So and I'm being a little bit sarcastic about all that because I know that, but you made some bold moves because you said, wait, I've got to set myself up to get where I want to go, and you do have 3 brand new trucks and the systems and all of that. So great question. Marco.
I've got a question from online, Dan.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, Tanya Weger wants to know, do you follow the mindset if you're booked out more than 2 weeks to buy another truck? How has that worked for you?
Okay, that's a great question, and we may need to deal with that later, but go ahead.
Yeah, so I think that is going to be a different answer for every individual. I mean, and I'll just use this because AC, ask him that question. If he was 3 days out, he was adding another truck. So I think for Tanya, what's your growth plan? How far do you want to go? How fast do you want to get there? If you want to hit a certain point and you want to get there quick, then yes. If you're 2 weeks out, put another truck on the road.
Okay, so what you just said, you asked the question back to her and said, what is your growth plan?
Yes.
This is not unicorns and happy thoughts.
Yeah.
This is what's the plan if it fits your plan. Now, does it make sense to be, if you're booked out 2 weeks or a month? I know if you're booked out a month, AC is going to come in here and be like, you've got to get prepped for what's coming.
And also, what time of the season are you in? You don't want to be 2 weeks out and add a truck when you're getting ready to go into your winter. I know you're up north, so I mean, you don't want to do that. So there's a lot of strategy to really answer that question. And growth plan, where do you want to go? I mean, you look at that model that AC just went through, I don't know about everybody in this room, but I'm on that 18-month plan.
Yeah.
I want that in 18 months. I don't want to wait 8 years. I mean, some of you might, and that's okay.
It is okay. Marco, how's it going, the transition from Canada down to here?
It's good. So for those of you that don't know, we're Canadians, and we're coming down here for a more free life than we have in Canada, and it breaks my heart a little bit to say that. But the transition.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a minute. One reason I asked you the question is this: sometimes we get so focused on what we don't have or what we don't like that we forget how far we've come. Not just as a nation, but even as a company, individually. And I know your story, or at least what you have shared with me, but you have families And you're not just transitioning yourself and becoming an American citizen, but it's a family that so for the freedom, right?
True enough, and
Okay.
we've sold everything in Canada. We own nothing. I have a little piece of land that I'm selling right now, but that was supposed to be our retirement. It's on the water up north, but that dream's dead. Canada's dead. And I just got, and I hate to say that, I hope that doesn't offend anybody here, but if it does, then that's this straight up reality. Ted sent me a text this morning, and I just saw it, asked me if I would hold the Canadian flag, and I don't think I can anymore. So we're all in. We're all in here. And the transition's going well. To answer your question, it's going amazing. I come from a fire service background. I left the fire service to take this dream on, and I'm used to following orders from the chief, and whatever AC says, he's my chief, we do. And we're building the 5-star branch kind of backwards. You know, we've built it all, built the museum as we called it.
Yes.
And we're bringing on an operations manager next week. He's amazing. We hired a business developer / salesperson. She's killing it for us right now. And even though we're not doing any business, they're really helping us to build this business right now. So
Yes.
I can't say enough.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I realize you asked the question and you weren't asking to be put on the spot. So I thank you for that very much. Give them a hand, you guys. Yeah, I thank you. Okay, we've got a couple of minutes left. So Joshua, is that okay?
I'm Joshua with East Carolina SoftWash over in North Carolina. Where's Jim? He always gives me a fit. He says there's no East in North Carolina, so there you go. My question for you, Garrett, is more so for our guys here regarding the model. So have you ever faced a moment in your business where you kind of, for those that like to, I do it my way, you know, like the song you sung last night, sometimes we'll get in and we want to tweak things and we want to change things, you know, because we're entrepreneurs, right? You know, we're smart like AC. We can tweak the system, right? Have you ever reached a point where you tweaked the system? And if so, what did that look like? And then what happened when you got back to the model?
Great question.
It is a great question. The answer is yes. I've, you know, as I like to say, I do what I want, when I want, how I want.
Well, that's
Do it
special.
your way.
Isn't it? And she'll attest to that. I mean, I do what I want. And so several years ago, you know, I went off model. I started doing things my way. And guess what? We didn't do too well. We had probably one of our worst seasons. And, you know, sometimes what can happen is you start getting voices coming from other places. And, oh, well, you know, that sounds good. You know what? I'm going to do it their way.
Stop. You gotta be careful who you listen to.
You do.
I'm serious.
And yourself. Like, you have to be careful.
I am. Be careful who you listen to.
Yeah.
If he or she knows what they're talking about, God bless them. It doesn't mean you need to change what you're doing.
Amen.
I'm done preaching.
There you go.
But that's a strong point.
It is.
Because you're moving along, you're like, well, maybe he has a point. Well, maybe he has an issue too. So yeah, standpoint, keep going.
Yeah, you know, so I think that's the biggest thing. You know, as soon as I got back on model, and I mean, I'm going to toot my own horn here a little bit, but the only reason why AC is doing this CEO program now,
This will be
you're
good.
welcome.
Thank you.
I was at his house during a Top Gun, and I said, you know, man, I said, my company never grew the way it did. It has not grown the way it did since you stopped working with me. And the company has not grown as well as it has because I was alone. When AC came back in and said, let me think on that. Okay, here's what I got. Here's what we're going to do. Got the CEO program, okay? The company grew.
When he came and asked me about that process, our team got together. I said, that's great, but time is limited. So we got to put some boundaries on this thing. Because AC and Karen genuinely love all of you.
Oh, they'll give
They
you all
want to
their time.
spend all the time they can. They want to talk. Here's the reality, though. If they gave each of you 1 hour, how long is it going to take? And how you need more than that, right? So we had to build some structure into this thing so that, so I appreciate that. Okay, Joshua, did he answer your question?
Absolutely.
No, well, I gotta wrap it up. Is that good, or you have a follow-up? Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up because just for time's sake.
Sure.
Your dreams, some of the goals you guys have, and it could be for your family, it could be for your company, but just generally, kind of what's out there.
I'll answer it and you can follow it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think for her and I, you know, our dream right now is to get the home. She really wants a new home, and I want to give her that. We have to compromise because I want like 40 acres, and she wants to live in a subdivision, but, you know.
I don't know about a subdivision. I just don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere where I got to drive a half an
She
hour
wants
to
to
the
be
store.
10 minutes from Target. Don't let her lie.
I drive a lot. Like, I don't want to have to keep driving.
She does. She handles everything at the house. I literally do nothing.
Well, that's very wonderful. And how do you feel about that, Allison?
Well, there's days it's good. He doesn't touch anything. And then there's days it's like, get off your butt and do something.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so one of the things that you guys would like to do is that home ownership thing in a special
Yeah.
home like that. But that's significant. And are you working? That's a part of the plan, right?
Yes, that is definitely,
Yeah.
you know, we did a weekend trip with AC and Karen. They rented a boat, and we went out, and my wife got eaten alive. But we spent 2 days in the middle of the river on a houseboat, just designing the next 12 months,
Just dreaming.
dreaming.
Yeah.
And, you know, our son, we have one child. You know, he's our only son. He's our life. We do everything for him. And, you know, he's getting to that point. He's very big into ice hockey. He loves hockey. It's his passion. And so one of the other things in that dream, and it's going to be not cheap, but the schools in the area that have the best hockey programs are going to cost me 20 to 30 grand a year. So we have to build this dream with this business. You know, I mean, my business goals is to be at multiple branches with 2 trucks, you know, and I have to achieve that to give them what they want and what they deserve.
You have anything to add to that?
I mean, my 2 things are going to be the house and Jackson's education. It used to be so I didn't have to work. I know that's what he still wants eventually, but I like my job at least right now.
I just want
So-
time freedom.
But these are conversations that can happen. My wife likes to tell me, "Hey, why don't we do a first pass on this conversation? We're not trying to solve anything." And then the next time we come together, it'll be a second pass, and we'll think through what we would like to see happen. And then there'll be a third pass, and it'll come to us where we go, you know what, this is where we're going to land. I think it's wonderful that you guys have taken time to share your life with us. I really appreciate it. And I love that you have some solid goals out there. And I love that that's a part of not just it's a part of the business plan is that, hey, we're making these decisions financially here because practically we're moving towards this house because practically we have some education we'd like to provide for our son. And there will be some other things that come behind that. But when you have those and you can write it down and you can focus on it, business has meaning. It's like, oh, that's why I get up. That's why I do these things I do. That's why I don't do some of the things that I don't do. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Our pleasure.
we love you guys. Yeah, give them a hand, guys. Garrett and Allison. Thank you, my brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Give them a hand, guys.